So I've actually had two viewers in the past weeks message me about reversals and when I use them, if I use them, etc. And I realized that, to my knowledge, I haven't done a video on reversals and that it's definitely more than overdue. So I want to sit down and do a video on reversals today for you all. And I think my view of reversals aligns more closely with Barbara Moore's view of reversals than I realized until I was kind of thinking about this morning, like what I wanted to share, etc. in this video. And her view is that she changes her mind all the time about if she uses them or not. So I would say it depends on the deck as to whether or not I use the reversals. Now, there are many different ways to actually read reversals. You can have a completely different meaning if the card is reversed for each card. This does mean that when you're learning the system of tarot, or if you're getting used to the oracle deck you're using, you're attaching another 78 meanings on that you have to become acquainted with and familiar with. If you're using an oracle deck, then if it's a 54 card oracle deck, you're going to be learning another 54 meanings. So it is adding more to your workload, if you will, your course load, if you will, learning the deck. It can be very enlightening, though, to have a different meaning if the image shows up reversed. Now, you can also use reversals in a simpler manner. So instead of each card having a different meaning, if the image is reversed, it's either intensifying or it's blocking the energy of the meaning of the upright card. So if you have the Five of Pentacles and it shows up reversed, perhaps it means that the feeling of want, of being left out in the cold, the feeling of lack is intensified. Or perhaps that feeling of lack is something that's currently lifting for them and they're stepping out of that energy. So you can use reversals in that way, or it's not necessarily a separate meaning, it's just either intensifying or blocking the energy that the card is sharing. So perhaps if someone gets the Five of Pentacles, they are really resistant to acknowledging the fact that they are experiencing a state of lack and that they are feeling left out in the cold in their life. That perhaps they don't want to acknowledge the fact that everywhere they look, they're finding an enemy or someone who's out to get them, and that they have no one they can trust, and they are simply alone, and they have to fend for themselves, and they're constantly fighting. So if you choose to read reversals that way, then that can be a way that you understand a reversal when it shows up if you choose to use reversals. I love the fact that reversals are a choice, and that's how I use reversals. They're a choice. So if I'm drawn to using a reversal in a reading, whether it's for myself or a parent, then I will go ahead and use reversals. If all of the cards in the spread show up reversed, and I take a look and realize that the person handed the deck to me, opposite of the way that I handed it to them, then I don't typically use that as a reversal. I don't consider the entire spread reversed showing up, meaning that there's a massive blocking of energy for that person necessarily, unless I intuitively get the hit to do it. So that's really how I use reversals. When I feel drawn to, when I get the message that it's appropriate, that this card's showing up reversed for a reason, then I use the reversal, the lead card. And I typically do enjoy using the reversal as a blocking of the message that the card's giving, or an intensifying of the energy. For certain decks that I own, I am acquainted with the individual reversal meanings, like say for the Tarot of Vampires or the Mary L. Tarot. In that case, I will use their individual reversal meaning. But I don't do that with all of my tarot decks, especially ones that I'm not drawn to working with daily as much as I am those two decks. So, sorry guys, my throat's getting really dry. So I use reversals on occasion. Now, Reversals with oracle decks are a completely different beast. And quite often in oracle decks, um, reversals aren't used. Some of Jasmine Beckett Griffith's decks, she does use reversals. I think the Oracle of Shadows and Light uses reversals. The Oracle of the Shapeshifters does not use reversals. The Oracle of the Mermaids may use reversals. I'm not 100% sure. A lot of times, I think with Oracle decks, your focus really is on the image that you're having a reaction to with the card. And sometimes seeing that image reversed is jarring instead of prompting your intuition. So, and this would apply to Oracle or Tarot cards, when you see the image upside down, if it makes you feel nervous, uncomfortable, scared, and like you get into that freak out space, and I mean more than once if it does this, repeatedly if you have this experience, where you're just absolutely uncomfortable and looking at the image upside down makes you feel like you're going crazy, then that's a time to know that reversals are not good for you to use. That doesn't mean forever, but with the deck at that time, it's not beneficial for you to use reversals. At least that's been my experience with that feeling when it shows up when we're working with our decks. If instead, when you have a reversal show up in your deck, or during your spread, or when you're doing a daily draw, if instead you feel kind of invigorated when you see it, and you find that you're seeing something new in the image that you didn't notice when it was upright, and you're feeling, you know, that feeling we get when we're like, we can prove that we can do this. When you have that kind of feeling, that kind of excitement of the chase with a reversal, that you can find your way through to what the meaning is of the card showing up reversed. If you're having that engaged, exciting feeling with reversals, then it's definitely something for you to continue working with. And so that's really what I go with when I'm making the choice of using reversals or not as a reader. And there are definitely times in my life when I say I am not reading reversals right now. I'm not in a space to read reversals, and I don't read reversals. There are other times in my life when I am feeling very excited by reversals and intrigued by kind of testing my knowledge and my understanding, and then I go ahead and use reversals. So I think it's definitely something that you don't have to stick with, although most readers either do or don't. But I definitely align more with Barbara Moore's experience of working with reversals, which is sometimes she does it, sometimes she doesn't. So really honor that about yourself and trust that, and trust the knowing when it's a time to use reversals or not. Again, I use reversals more in tarot than I do in oracle decks. With oracle decks, I really like the experience I had with the upright image. But there are a few decks that I will do reversals with. And those are, typically Cavendish's decks I will use reversals with. More so Oracle of Shadows and Light, I would say, and the Oracle of the Mermaids, I enjoy that. And also with the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy deck, I find that I like to use reversals with that deck. And I'll typically attach my own meanings for reversals with those cards, not necessarily the written ones. I really do that for most of my cards anyhow. I mean, I read my guidebook, I do my research, but then there comes a time when it's just about me and the deck and my experience with the energies that are related to that deck, and my experience with my intuition and with the energies that I work with when I step into a reading space. And it's much more about that than about knowing the written meaning. Vincent's awake now, so you'll probably hear him playing on the floor. He's a Pisces and he's very vocal. So I think you have to really go with your gut and understand that the reversals need to be your association with them and not what someone's telling you should use reversals as and what they should mean for you. So definitely trust the gut, trust what you hear, what you intuit when cards show up reversed, and use that as your goalpost for whether or not you're going to use reversals in the spread. So cute. He's so cute. So that would be my advice to you about using reversals. I definitely think tarot is a much easier system to use reversals with. than Oracle decks. But that's just my personal experience. I mean, and there are a lot of cards like the Isis Oracle, the Kuan Yin Oracle, the Messenger Oracle. Although on occasion I will use reversals for the Messenger Oracle, where the artwork is just so engaging for me that I just use the upright images for those decks. And those are often decks that, with the exception of the Messenger Oracle, that I use for myself more than I would use for clients. So I do appreciate the upright images more when I'm working for myself, because if I add reversals in when it's for me, I can tend to go to a place where I'm just confusing myself with, well, I know that this meaning is, but is that actually what it means for me? Whereas you're much clearer when you're reading for someone else and you don't get caught up in that kind of, I guess some people would say, ego space. So I think when you're reading for yourself, it's definitely much easier to not use reversals. But that's just my experience, and you'll find your own way on your journey with that. And I'm excited for Cavendish and Beckett Griffith's new Les Vampires Oracle deck. And I'm interested to see whether they're going to choose to have reversal meanings written down for that as well. And how I'm going to play with the energies in that deck as far as using reversals with those or not. But I definitely think that reversals don't have to be an either or. You can definitely fool around with it and have days when you use reversals and days when you don't. And honor that about yourself, and don't let anyone tell you that that's wrong. If Barbara Moore can do it, then darn it, we can too. So I always enjoy her guidebooks when she chooses to share that information about reversals. I always have a little giggle about that. I definitely think what's really most important, especially if you're watching this starting out, is that you're using the decks, playing with the energies that are associated with the deck, whether it's tarot or oracle. The more that you use your decks daily, if possible, the more that you're going to become comfortable with their energies and be in a conversation with them, so that you will know when the reversals appear, if it's a time to read the card as a reversal or not, and also what the meaning of it reversed is. And if you're drawn to work with cards, then I would say to you that working with the cards every day is going to be something that's very valuable for you. I had my face read recently by a very talented woman, and I will put a link to her Facebook page in the box below in case you're interested. But she said that for something in my face, I can't remember which area it was, might have been the eyebrows, that puzzles and kind of pulling the pieces apart and putting them back together are wonderful things to help people with, I don't know, my type of eyebrow or eye shape or whatever it was, to relax and to come down and to be in a grounded space. So you can see why the tarot will help you to do that if you are someone who's drawn to working with them. I look at my tarot cards now as my puzzle pieces. I mean, just shuffling the deck, touching the cards, looking at the cards daily is something that is really very grounding for me, and it's something that's extremely sacred. So I would encourage you to do that as part of your getting to know your deck and getting to a space with the cards where you feel comfortable using reversals if you choose to. It's definitely a personal choice, and I think that it's something that you have to explore, using them and not using them, in order to decide if it's right for you or not. And if you happen to wind up somewhere in the middle like me, where sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, there's nothing wrong with that too. I wish you all many blessings on your paths with tarot. And thank you guys, especially the two of you who sent me messages and we were able to have some conversations about reversals. Thank you so much for sending me this topic. I'm so sorry that I haven't done a video on it up to this point. I thank you guys for letting me know that you would love to see a video with my viewpoint on reversals. I wish you all many blessings as you work with your cards and as you decide whether reversals are something you're going to do as you work with the cards or not. So blessings from Vincent and Tallulah and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye.